The Brigade of Gurkhas is the collective term for units of the current British Army that are composed of Nepalese soldiers. The brigade, which is 3,640 strong, draws its heritage from Gurkha units that originally served in the Indian Army prior to Indian independence, and prior to that of the East India Company. The brigade includes infantry, engineer, signal, logistic and training and support units. They are famous for their ever-present kukris, a distinctive heavy knife with a curved blade, and for their reputation of being fierce fighters and brave soldiers. They take their name from the hill town of Gorkha from which the Nepalese Kingdom had expanded. The ranks have been dominated by four ethnic groups, the Gurungs and Magars from western Nepal, and the Rais and Limbus from the east, who live in hill villages of hill farmers. The brigade celebrated 200 years of service in the British Army in 2015. Origins. During the war in Nepal in 1814, the British failed to annex Nepal as part of the empire, but army officers were impressed by the tenacity of the Gurkha soldiers and encouraged them to volunteer for the East India Company. Gurkhas served as troops of the East India Company in the Pindari War of 1817, in Bharatpur, Nepal in 1826, and the First and Second Sikh Wars in 1846 and 1848. During the Sepoy Mutiny in 1857, the Gurkha regiments remained loyal to the British, and became part of the British Indian Army on its formation. The 2nd Gurkha Rifles and the 60th Rifles famously defended Hindu Rao's house. The British Army. After Indian independence and partition in 1947 and under the Tripartite Agreement, 6 Gurkha regiments joined the post-independence Indian Army. 4 Gurkha regiments, the 2nd, 6th, 7th, and 10th Gurkha Rifles, joined the British Army on January 1, 1948. During the Malayan emergency in the late 1940s, Gurkhas fought as jungle soldiers as they had done in Burma. The January 2nd Gurkha Rifles was deployed to Brunei at the outbreak of the Brunei Revolt in 1962. After that conflict ended, the Gurkhas were transferred to Hong Kong, where they carried out security duties. The need for such centralized training establishments became apparent following India's national independence, and the training depot Brigade of Gurkhas was established on August 15, 1951 at Sungai Petani, Kedah, Malaya. In 1974 Turkey invaded Cyprus and the 10th Gurkha Rifles was sent to defend the British sovereign base area of Takalia. On July 1, 1994 the 4 rifle regiments were merged into one, the Royal Gurkha Rifles, and the 3 corps regiments were reduced to squadron strength. On July 1, 1997, the British government handed Hong Kong over to the People's Republic of China, which led to the elimination of the local British garrison. Gurkha headquarters and recruit training were moved to the UK. The Royal Gurkha Rifles took part in operations in Kosovo in 1999, in UN peacekeeping operations in East Timor in 2000 and in Sierra Leone later that year. In 2007 the Brigade of Gurkhas announced that women were allowed to join. Like their British counterparts, Gurkha women are eligible to join the Engineers, Logistics Corps, Signals and Brigade Band, although not infantry units. In September 2008 the High Court in London ruled that the British government must issue clear guidance on the criteria against which Gurkhas may be considered for settlement rights in the UK. On May 21, 2009, and following a lengthy campaign by Gurkha veterans, the British Home Secretary Jackie Smith announced that all Gurkha veterans who had served 4 years or more in the British Army before 1997 would be allowed to settle in Britain. Selection and basic training. The selection process for the Gurkhas is very demanding. There are typically 25,000 applicants a year for just 200 places. Gurkhas training lasts for 36 weeks and addresses a range of areas. From the brigade ethos, language training, cultural training, career management and trade selection, as well the same 26-week combat infantrymen unregistered trademark S course that the line infantry receive. The basic training also conducted in the right, relevant and realistic manner. This enables the trained Gurkha soldiers to fulfill their roles on operations and continuing the great traditions of their forefathers. 1. Organization. Brigade headquarters is based at Royal Military Academy Saunchurst, Surrey. the 2 battalions of the Royal Gurkha Rifles are formed as light role infantry. They are not equipped with either armoured or wheeled vehicles. The 1st Battalion Royal Gurkha Rifles is based at the British garrison in Brunei as part of Britain's commitment to maintaining a military presence in SE Asia. The 2nd Battalion Royal Gurkha Rifles is based at Shorncliffe Army Camp, near Folkestone in Kent as part of 16 Air Assault Brigade, and is available for deployment to most areas in Europe and Africa. British Gurkha Units 1947 Euro 1994, former units included 2nd King Edward VII's Own Gurkha Rifles, 6th Queen Elizabeth's Own Gurkha Rifles, 7th Duke of Edinburgh's Own Gurkha Rifles, 10th Princess Mary's Own Gurkha Rifles, Gurkha Army Service Corps, Gurkha Transport Regiment, Queen's Gurkha Engineers, Gurkha Engineer Training Squadron, Royal Engineers, 50th Engineer Regiment, Royal Engineers, Gurkha Engineers. Queen's Gurkha Signals, Gurkha Signals, Gurkha Royal Signals, Gurkha Signals. Gurkha Provost Company, Royal Military Police, 17th Gurkha Divisional Provost Company, Royal Military Police, Gurkha Independent Parachute Company, Parachute Regiment. Current units of the Brigade of Gurkhas. Current units of the Brigade of Gurkhas include, Headquarters, Brigade of Gurkhas, based at Royal Military Academy Saunchurst, Surrey, British Gurkhas Nepal, 1st and 2nd Battalions, the Royal Gurkha Rifles, the Queen's Gurkha Engineers based within 36 Engineer Regiment, in Victor Park Barracks, Maidstone, the Queen's Gurkha Signals, based in York, Bramcote, Blandford and Stafford. There are additional troop locations in Nepal and Brunei. 10 Queen's Own Gurkha Logistic Regiment RLC, based at Aldershot Garrison. Gurkha Staff and Personnel Support Company, the band of the Brigade of Gurkhas, Gurkha Company, 3rd Battalion, Infantry Training Centre, Catterick, the Gurkha Company, Royal Military Academy Saunchurst, the Gurkha Company, Infantry Battle School, Brecon, Brigade of Gurkhas Training Team, Gurkha Language Wing, Catterick. Commemoration of Service. London Memorial =. The British Memorial to the Gurkhas was unveiled by Queen Elizabeth II on December 3, 1997. The inscription is a quotation from Sir Ralph Turner, a former officer in the 3rd Gurkha Rifles. 200 years of service A series of events took place in 2015 to mark 200 years of service by the Gurkhas in the British Army, including a march past Buckingham Palace. Other Gurkhas are also recruited by the British Army for the over 2,000-strong Gurkha contingent of the Singapore Police Force. Approximately 2,000 Gurkhas also serve in a similar role in the Gurkha Reserve Unit in Brunei. In addition to the British Army, Gurkhas are also recruited by the Indian Army, as part of the tripartite agreement that was signed at the time of India's independence. This is further documented in a list of Gurkha regiments serving under the Indian Army. Under international law, according to Protocol 1 additions to the Geneva Conventions of 1949, Gurkhas serving as regular uniformed soldiers are not mercenaries. According to Cabinet Office official histories, Sir John Knott, as Secretary of State for Defence, expressed the British government's concern that the Gurkhas could not be sent with the task force to recapture the Falkland Islands because it might upset the non-aligned members of the fragile coalition of support that the British had built in the United Nations. The then Chief of Defence Staff Sir Edwin Bramall, like Knott, a former officer in the 2nd Gurkhas, said that the Gurkhas were needed for sound military reasons, and if they were not deployed then there would always be a political reason not to deploy Gurkhas in future conflicts. So he requested that not argue the case in government for deploying them against the advice of the Foreign Office. Knott agreed to do so, commenting that the Gurkhas would be mortified if we spoilt their chances of going. Alliances Australia the Royal Australian Regiment, New Zealand the Royal New Zealand Infantry Regiment, Brunei the Royal Brunei Land Forces. See also, French Foreign Legion, Queen's Truncheon, Gorkha Regiments, Gurkha Contingent, Modern Equipment and Uniform of the British Army. References. Further reading, Parker, John. The Gurkhas. Headline Book Publishing. ISBN 0-7472-6243-8. External links. Brigade of Gurkhas, on British Army official website, the Band of the Brigade of Gurkhas, official website, 36 Engineer Regiment, Gurkha Museum, Brigade of Gurkhas in Land Forces of Britain, the Empire and Commonwealth, Grey, Dynasty Imperial Holdover, Gurkhas flock to British Army. USA Today. King, Hannah. Army welcomes latest Gurkha recruits. British Forces News Service. A Euro video of new recruits from Nepal arriving at the Catterick garrison.